Afternoon, everybody. CanadaPoly.com has undergone some renovations. We've got our new form up and running, and topics have been posted and tests have been done. You do have to re-register, and if you're having problems, please do contact me. You should be able to contact me here. And so yeah, come and join the conversation. I posted this picture as a test, and I thought, why not leave it up as a conversation? So that's Justin Trudeau, Bono, and Kevin Spacey. And after seeing the Let Me Be Frank video, which is very, very creepy, and that's Kevin Spacey reprising his Frank Underwood character, it's an interesting picture. It's an interesting picture to look at. Today's news, what I want to look at is Global News is commentary. While it's a fool's errand to predict the outcome of an election that's 10 months away, Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party is the odds-on favorite to repeat. And we look at this article here. It says, Justin Trudeau is well-positioned going into the 2019 election. Trudeau Liberals are well positioned to hold on to government going into October's national election. Experienced political observers know there's no such thing as national elections in Canada. Our national elections are really a series of regional and sub-regional elections all held on the same day. What do the regional and sub-regional numbers show? That the Liberals are strong because they're doing well where they need to win enough seats to form government again. That's Ontario, Quebec, and BC. The Conservatives, on the other hand, are only 5 points behind the Liberals in the national vote numbers, but are overperforming in regions where there aren't enough seats available to impact the election outcome. Case in point is the huge CPC lead in Alberta, the biggest gap between first and second place in the country. Alberta only has 34 seats, though. It's a similar story in the Prairie region, where the CPC has a strong lead too. Together, Saskatchewan and Manitoba have a total of 28 seats. Compare this to Ontario, 121 seats, and Quebec, 78 seats, two provinces where the Liberals lead. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the Ipsos poll this is based on. This was published on the 20th, and the Ipsos poll was published on the 21st, but the poll was done specifically for Global News, and the polling was done between the 7th and 12th or something like that, the 6th and the 12th of December. So we're going to look at that, but I just want to mention that I've reported previously that Quebec had more seats than Ontario. I've said that 178 seats, so I don't know why I got that wrong, but I got that wrong, and I wanted to mention it. But I've also said previously that this election is going to be won in Ontario and Quebec, and depending on how the illegal border crossing and the immigration stuff goes, that's not popular in Quebec, and people are pushing back on that. And the deficit, I mean, the budgetary deficit of $20 billion, we're going to be in debt until 2040. And that's just in 3 years of misspending under Justin Trudeau's watch. We had a surplus going into the 2015 election. Harper managed the finances well through the Great Recession of 2008, and we were a strong economy functioning largely symbiotically with the United States. And Justin Trudeau has done everything he can to destroy that as well. So this is an election that will be won or lost in Ontario and Quebec. And we've seen massive job losses. We've seen the GM plant go. We've seen all sorts of LNG and pipeline projects that were supposed to have shovels in the ground. And the pipeline projects aren't in Ontario, but countrywide, people are seeing that there's not a lot of certainty and not a lot of stability in Canadian markets where there used to be stability and certainty. So it's an interesting thing to have that trickle into the national politics, because Trudeau's doing his best to not let it, because if anything serious is discussed, he loses, right? Like, that's it. So I want to show you the Ipsos poll that this is based on, and there's some interesting data there, and I don't have a conclusion for the data, and please don't draw the conclusion I'm going to imply, because I'm going to show you other stats that disprove it. So it is what it is. It's just numbers and only 2,000 people, so who knows? But here it is anyway. This is the Ipsos poll. The link is in the description. Less than a year before the election, Trudeau leads in the best and worst traits. It says, with less than a year to go until the next federal election, a new Ipsos poll conducted exclusively for Global News shows that the incumbent Prime Minister and Liberal Party leader Justin Trudeau commands a large lead over other federal party leaders in terms of positive traits, but also in terms of negative ones, suggesting that Canadians know far more about Trudeau than his rival Andrew Scheer and Jagmeet Singh. For example, 36% of Canadians believe that Trudeau is someone who will best lead and represent Canada on the world stage, compared to 22 for Andrew Scheer and 8 for Jagmeet Singh. The Liberal Party leader also leads on a variety of indicators, such as being someone who will get things done, and they have various statistics. Having what it takes to lead for Canada, 33% for Trudeau, 21% for Scheer. And being someone Canadians would like to get a beer or coffee with, 33% for Trudeau and 15% for Scheer. And so I'm just going to scroll down and show you this. It's really interesting. Here are the questions, here are the leaders, and then here's a none of the above leaders. So it's Justin Trudeau. So the first question is, someone who will best lead and represent Canada on the world stage. Justin Trudeau, 36%. Andrew Scheer, 22%. Jagmeet Singh, 8%. None of these leaders, 34%. So is Elizabeth May getting 34%? Is she knocking it out of the park? Is that Maxime Bernier knocking it out of the park? Is that Elizabeth May and Maxime Bernier? Because those are the only two federal leaders that I know of that aren't listed. And this is a Global News report, so I don't know if this is Global News Calgary or it's the globalnews.ca, so it seems to be the main site. So that's usually Ottawa, right, if it doesn't say an outlet. So that's an interesting turn, and it's consistent across all of them, right? Like someone who has what it takes to lead Canada, 37% to Trudeau's 33, Scheer's 21, and Singh's 9. Someone who will promote democracy and its processes effectively, 33 for Trudeau, 20% for Scheer, 12% for Singh, and 36% for Bernier and May, and all of the other unnamed federal leaders that are getting 36% of the vote. And I mean, who knows? I have no idea why this is happening. I don't have access to their polling data. I don't know who those other people are. But someone you can trust, 31% for Trudeau, 17% for Scheer, 9% for Singh, and 44% for somebody else. Elizabeth May is very trustworthy, unless she gets drunk. Have you seen that video on Rebel of Elizabeth May drunk? I had never seen it, and I thought it was funny. I watched it yesterday. Merry Christmas. So I thought that was interesting. So I told you I was going to show you something that totally disproves my theory of the French-Canadian accent on the 40% for someone who really listens to and considers all points of view, right? Like, who knows? But here is a poll, and this is an Abacus poll. And again, it's got the same date on it, December 21st, 2018. So it's Abacus data, right? And link is in the description so you can investigate all of these interesting data points for yourself. But it says the preferred prime minister, when asked which of these party leaders would they prefer to see as prime minister at the next election, 45% picked Justin Trudeau. So there you go. And 5% picked Maxime Bernier. So he was named in this one, and he did not get 40%, right? That'd be news, wouldn't it? So, and Scheer did better here. So Elizabeth May's getting 10, Jagmeet Singh's getting 10. I can't name... I know there are 3 or 4 other federal parties that are not joke parties, but they're not. They don't have EDAs in every riding. They don't have the fire of the NDP or the grassrootness of the NDP. Like, there are a lot of people who are true believers in the NDP, and that's fine. That's good. I'm glad that they are politically motivated and know enough about what they're talking about to have such a strong position. I appreciate that, but people had the option of choosing Maxime Bernier and not just somebody else, and 40% didn't choose Maxime Bernier. So that's interesting. And perhaps the questions were different, right? Just preferred PM. I didn't see that one on here, so, and I'm not going to look right now because... but I wanted to give you one other data point, one other piece of information, and this is anecdotal. This is just looking through Twitter. But I looked through Justin Trudeau's tweets. I looked through a whole bunch of them, and what I found was very few positive tweets. There's one. This is the Merry Christmas message. Merry Christmas to you and yours. So that's not a negative one. But there's memes, and there are activists who are against him. There are doctors who are like doctor groups that are against the federal Liberals, and there were groups against the provincial Liberals in Ontario as well. And that's... This is something to note, right? Like, people are angry enough to log into Twitter and to share memes at people. Now, this is what Twitter is for, right? Like, you're to communicate with powerful people and to send them a message. So the people who are here are wanting to do this, but at the same time, there's celebrities who will interact. There's other people who will react. Even, this is a Trudeau tweeting out on December 23rd, quote, "A very shocking and tragic situation in Indonesia. Today we send condolences to everyone affected by the tsunami that caused so much devastation on the Sunda Strait. Canadians' thoughts are with you, and our government is ready to offer assistance if needed." Okay, so very kind of like political tweet, right? Like, it's like, yeah, that's terrible. We're ready. We're here, whatever. There's criticism, and there's all sorts of arguments about the best way to handle this, and clearly people think that this Trudeau is not the steady hand that these poll numbers are leading us, and these articles written about these poll numbers lead us to believe. And one other point I want to make about the article that I forgot to make earlier is if you discount these numbers, and again, I don't have access to their polls, but if you just say, well, don't worry about any of the other leaders, don't worry about May, don't worry about Bernier, don't worry about anybody else, because we're not interested in that. We want to hear about Trudeau, like Liberals, NDP, and Conservative. That's it. And so I don't have access, but it's very interesting when you frame it that way. When you take that out, the article is very accurate. But when you leave it in, then it's a very complicating article because there's somebody else who's getting a very decent number of respondents in this poll, and they don't mention it, or they didn't mention it in the part that I read. So that's interesting. Back to the tweets. In addition to Justin Trudeau's tweets, he's talking about Mali. I started looking at the Liberal Party of Canada's tweets, and it's exactly the same thing. There's not a whole lot of retweets and likes, considering how big Canada is and the size of the population and the amount of people who are actually interested in Canadian politics. Believe it or not, we do exist. Yay! All right, but there's all memes, and disrespectful tweets. And I'm not going to read them all out, but I'll tell you, the ratio of bad tweets or disrespectful tweets or, you need to be a drama teacher again, etc., Mr. Trudeau, to positive ones is very, very high, right? Like the positive ones are very low and the negative tweets are very high. This tweet by the Liberal Party says, this fall, Care Freeland and Team Canada successfully negotiated the new NAFTA, a good deal that improves the opportunities for Canadian workers, businesses, and our middle class. We will never stop working hard to create and protect good Canadian jobs. And again, all of these are very well thought out, or not all of them are well thought out responses, but all of them are trying to hold this government accountable for, do you really think that the deal you negotiated is good? What about aluminum and steel? What about our fractured relationship that you guys keep needling the president for no good reason? Here's one of two tweets. The Liberal Party says, want to wish the Trudeau family a happy holidays? Add your name here to sign the card. Ooh, yeah. And this one was even worse, right? With the reactionary tweets and the memes and stuff. Here's the first one. We're sending the Trudeau family a holiday card. Add your signature here to wish them well this Christmas. And this one had a couple of nice replies, but it was very interesting to just walk through. Even a very political, just kind of here's where our plan is taking us next, has a very mixed bag response. It's not an overwhelmingly positive or overwhelmingly, it's overwhelmingly negative. But this one specifically it got a little wonky, but it's still not very much paid attention to it, right? There's 109 retweets, 372 likes, and the discussion is they'll be able to tax those weeks at the end of your life, which is more tax dollars, presumably, because you'll make more money then, right? So, and I mean, that's an interesting aspect that I hadn't considered, but neither here nor there. It's the conversation is centered around they're not telling the truth. They're not sharing everything they know. And in doing so, they're not making the best choices for Canadians. And that's being borne out. We've got a deficit. During the 2015 election, Mr. Harper had a surplus. We had $1 billion surplus. Justin Trudeau took the $1 billion surplus and threw it out to other countries. And then he spent all of the money between now and 2040. That is when the budget will be balanced. If we continue to let Justin Trudeau allow the budget to balance itself, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Okay, so that's it. I don't think Justin Trudeau is nearly as popular as these global news articles are saying, and I think they know it. Really, I think they've got the data to prove it, but I don't. So, and who knows? Who knows what's going on in poll land? Come and join the conversation. Let me know what you think, because it's interesting, and I like talking with you guys. So thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and check out the peoplespartyofcanada.ca. You might be interested in a person with a French-Canadian accent running Canada for the next 4 years. Who knows? Thanks for watching.